Before the world wakes, before the noise of other people's expectations begins to pull at the mind, there is a moment of quiet that belongs only to us. It is in this moment, when the mind is still and the air feels heavy with possibility, that the foundation of power is built. Not the loud kind of power that demands attention, but the quiet, immovable power that commands respect without speaking a word. Most people begin their day in chaos. Their minds rush toward worries, frustrations, and imagined conflicts. They wake already reacting to life rather than directing it. But those who seek mastery understand something different. The mind must be governed before the day begins, or the day will govern the mind. The ancient thinkers understood this clearly. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." But this reminder was not meant to comfort the weak spirit. It was meant to awaken discipline. The morning is the battlefield where the inner war begins. Power, success, and respect do not come from chasing outcomes. They come from mastering the forces within. The anger that clouds judgment, the fear that paralyzes action, the vanity that craves approval. These invisible enemies destroy more lives than any external obstacle ever could. So we adopt laws. Not laws imposed by others, but mental laws that shape how we move through the world. These laws forge clarity where others feel confusion. They create calm where others drown in emotion. And slowly, almost mysteriously, they attract the very things most people chase desperately: influence, success, and respect. But these rewards are not the goal. They are the natural consequence of inner order. And the first law begins where all mastery begins, with control over what truly belongs to us. Point 1. Govern what is yours. The first law is simple in words, yet brutal in practice. Govern what is yours and release what is not. Every morning we face the same choice. We can spend our energy trying to control the behavior of others, the outcomes of events, and the opinions that float through the world like passing winds. Or we can direct that energy inward, toward the one domain that truly belongs to us: our thoughts, our choices, our actions. Epictetus spoke with ruthless clarity when he said, "Some things are up to us and some things are not." Most people hear this and nod politely, but few understand the immense power hidden in this idea. The moment we stop fighting what we cannot control, an enormous weight lifts from the mind. Anxiety weakens. Anger loses its grip. The endless need to prove ourselves begins to fade. What remains is focus, and focus is rare. When others are distracted by insults, gossip, and imagined slights, we remain steady. When others panic because circumstances shift, we remain deliberate. This calm is not weakness. It is authority. Respect grows naturally around people who cannot be shaken by trivial forces. Each morning, then, we remind ourselves, the world will behave however it chooses. People will misunderstand us, oppose us, or ignore us entirely. But none of this has authority over our character. Our character remains ours alone, and that is enough to build a powerful life. Point 2. Master the first thought. There is a moment, so brief that most people never notice it, between an event and the emotion that follows. In that moment, the mind interprets what has happened. It assigns meaning. It decides whether something is an insult, a threat, a loss, or simply another neutral event passing through time. Most people never question this interpretation. They assume their emotions are automatic and unavoidable, but the ancient teachers knew otherwise. The mind creates the storm. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." But this strength requires vigilance, because the first thought is where everything begins. If someone speaks harshly to us, the first thought might say, "I have been disrespected." Anger follows immediately. The body tightens, the day becomes poisoned. But if the mind intervenes, if we pause even briefly, we see another possibility. Perhaps the person is tired. Perhaps they carry burdens we cannot see. Perhaps their words say more about their inner state than about us. Suddenly, the storm dissolves. This is not passivity, it is mastery. By governing the first thought, we control the emotional chain reaction that follows. We choose clarity over impulse. and over time this discipline reshapes the entire inner world. Others remain prisoners of their reactions, but we become architects of our responses. Point 3. Remove the need for approval. Few chains bind the human spirit more tightly than the need for approval. From childhood, we are trained to seek it. Praise becomes a form of currency. Acceptance becomes a quiet addiction. And before long, entire lives are built around pleasing audiences that constantly change. But approval is unstable. Today's admiration becomes tomorrow's criticism. The moment we base our sense of worth on the opinions of others, we hand them control over our emotional life. Their praise inflates us. Their disapproval wounds us. And a mind that swings like this cannot be powerful. Seneca warned against this dependency when he wrote, "Care about what other people think and you will always be their prisoner." The path of discipline requires something different. We measure ourselves by our own standards of character. Did we act with courage today? Did we speak honestly? Did we remain composed when provoked? If the answer is yes, then the opinions of the crowd become irrelevant noise. Ironically, the moment we stop chasing approval is the moment respect begins to appear. People trust those who are not desperate to impress them. They sense the quiet independence, and independence commands respect. Point 4. Turn obstacles into training. Life will never stop presenting obstacles. Plans collapse. Opportunities vanish. People betray expectations. Illness, fatigue, and uncertainty arrive without warning. Most people see these moments as unfair interruptions to their progress. They resent them. They complain. They wait for easier circumstances before moving forward again. But the disciplined mind sees something different. Training. Marcus Aurelius wrote words that have echoed through centuries. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Every difficulty strengthens something within us, if we allow it. Patience is forged when delays test our composure. Courage is forged when fear whispers that we should retreat. Endurance is forged when exhaustion tempts us to surrender. Without these trials, the mind would remain fragile, and fragility cannot hold power. So, when obstacles appear, we do not ask, "Why is this happening to us?" We ask something far more productive. What strength is this moment demanding from us? Each challenge becomes a forge, and slowly the mind becomes steel. Point 5. Live as if your reputation follows you. Respect is not demanded. It is earned through consistency. People watch more carefully than they speak. They observe how we behave when things go wrong. They notice whether our actions align with our words. They quietly record how we treat others who cannot benefit us. Reputation, then, is not built through declarations. It is built through repeated behavior. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." This principle transforms the way we move through the world. We act as if our character is always visible, because in many ways it is. Every decision leaves a trace. Every reaction reveals a piece of who we are. Over time, people begin to sense reliability in us. They know we do not panic easily. They know we do not betray our principles for convenience. And slowly, something powerful emerges. Trust. Trust is the soil where influence grows. When people trust our character, our words carry weight. Our presence changes the atmosphere of a room. This is how respect is built. Not through noise, but through quiet consistency. Point 6. Remember that time is limited. There is one truth that sharpens the mind more than any philosophy. Time is not infinite. Every morning that we wake is a day removed from the total we were given. This reality is uncomfortable to face, which is why most people avoid thinking about it. They postpone meaningful work. They delay difficult decisions. They assume there will always be another opportunity to become disciplined, courageous, or wise. But there is no guarantee. Seneca warned about this illusion when he wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." When we remember that time is limited, our priorities become clearer. Petty conflicts lose importance. Empty distractions feel less attractive. The mind begins to focus on what truly matters. Growth, contribution, character. The awareness of mortality does not darken life. It intensifies it. Every action becomes more deliberate. Every day becomes more valuable. And when we live with this awareness, our presence changes. We stop drifting. We start living with purpose. Point 7. Build a mind that cannot be owned. The final law is perhaps the most powerful of all. Build a mind that cannot be owned. Most people surrender their inner freedom without realizing it. They allow insults to dictate their mood. They allow praise to inflate their ego. They allow fear to silence their ambitions. In this way, their emotional life becomes controlled by external forces. But the disciplined mind refuses this arrangement. Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Freedom, then, is not political. It is psychological. When we govern our reactions, we cannot be manipulated through anger. When we govern our desires, we cannot be controlled through temptation. When we govern our fears, we cannot be intimidated into surrendering our principles. This kind of mind becomes immovable. People sense it immediately. They feel the calm presence. They notice the absence of desperation. They recognize the strength that comes from self-command. And this is where power, success, and respect ultimately emerge. Not from dominating others, but from mastering the self. When the mind becomes disciplined, the world begins to respond differently. Doors open, opportunities appear. Respect follows naturally, but even if none of these rewards arrived, the path would still be worth walking. Because the greatest victory has already been won: mastery over the self.